5,000 years ago, people in the Indus Valley civilization were already practicing yoga. But here's the crazy part. Some ancient yogis were said to have superhuman abilities. They could slow their heartbeat, withstand extreme pain, and some even claimed to be able to levitate. Meanwhile, I could barely touch my toes. So I'm going to do yoga for 30 days to see if I can change my body and my mind, and I learned that I was not ready for this. Before I start, I want to know exactly where yoga came from. What I found, that it's way more than just stretching, and it could be the key to unlocking insane physical and mental abilities.
Earliest evidence that we have for breathing practices dates back about 4,000 or 5,000 years from these little statuettes in the Indus Valley,
which happens to be one of the oldest lost civilizations in the world. They built massive cities, underground plumbing, and somehow figured out how to control their bodies in ways science still can't fully explain. This is one of the earliest images of yoga ever found. These people believed that yoga could connect them to the universe, and over time, advanced yogis were said to develop siddhis, or superhuman powers. Some yogis could survive being buried alive for days, hold their breath for hours, or even walk on fire without burning their feet. Others were said to be able to control time itself and have telepathy. Telepathy? How do we say it? Those are one of those words that you just never say, so you don't actually know how to pronounce it. But anyways, I'm just here trying to be a better basketball player. That's exactly why we're going to start with the basics, Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutations, which is a basic yoga flow. And within seconds of doing this, I realized that my body was not built for this. It was bad. My hamstrings were too tight, my heels wouldn't touch the ground, and my hips completely locked up. How did ancient yogis do this for hours? That was tough. But if people in ancient India believed this was some secret, we're going to find out because I'm doing this for the next 30 days no matter what. The first few days were rough. Every position exposed another weakness in my mobility, but then I learned something wild. The movements aren't even the most important part of yoga. The breath is. People believe that breath could actually control the body, help with slowing aging, and even let you survive in extreme conditions. I still suck at this. So you guys already know I'm going to have to try focusing on my breath while I'm doing the movement. Let's go. The first thing I noticed when I started to actually focus on my breath was how bad my mobility really was. After watching a lot of videos on people explaining how to do the flow, I realized how far off I was from actually doing it correctly. And let's hope by the end of this my mobility can increase so I can do it correctly. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. That really just made everything 10 times harder. And when I first started this challenge, I was going to go through the flow once every single day in the morning. And after doing it for a few days, I decided to go through the flow twice every single day. The main thing for me was to make sure I don't overdo it and push myself too much too soon. Because yoga is not really meant to be a marathon. It's more closer to meditation than anything else. You know, people have actually been doing this for hours at a time, and I'm barely surviving 10 minutes. By week 2, things got a little better. My squat was deeper, I could touch my toes for longer, and my balance wasn't completely embarrassing anymore. Doing this on the floor was not a good idea. And despite my mobility increasing, I still wasn't able to do it fully correctly compared to the videos I've seen online. And the more I begin to research and learn about yoga, the more I'm understanding that modern science is just now starting to prove that yoga literally changes your brain. It can reduce anxiety, increase flexibility, and enhance focus by activating the parasympathetic nervous system. And what's really interesting to me is that these lost civilizations knew about this thousands of years ago, but we are just now starting to realize the benefits. It makes me wonder, what else do they know? And maybe they are more advanced and sophisticated than we'd like to give them credit for. And instead of us focusing so much on our future, we should actually take a step back and learn a thing or two from our history, because they were able to do some pretty cool stuff, like build a pyramid. I think that right now I'm procrastinating and I need to get back to doing some yoga. Yeah, while researching for this video, I went down that conspiracy loophole. You know, I probably should invest in a yoga mat. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. See, these are the type of questions that keep you up at night and you probably won't ever get an answer. Recently, I've been learning that yoga is basically about hacking your body to be so relaxing. And ironically, this is the opposite of what I've been doing for so many years because I've always been lifting weights. And in order to get stronger, you actually have to tense your muscles, you know, squeeze your core like they always say, to actually push more weight. But ironically, to get better at yoga, you actually have to learn to let go. And that is actually so hard for me because my muscles are so tight, especially my calves. At this point, I expected yoga to get a lot easier. But nope, I was wrong. Ever since I started breathing deeper, every single pose I've been doing got a lot harder. The two poses that caused me the most trouble is first when I do the forward fold because I can't fully get my palms to the ground, and I've even seen some people hug their legs and I'm not even close to doing that. And the other one is actually the downward dog because I can't get my heels to the ground. The good news is if I stay consistent with the routine, I'll actually see improvements, but it's going to take longer than 30 days. I think the movements look better, but they feel a lot harder. We're closing in on day 30 and I think I just found my biggest breakthrough yet. So for this whole challenge, every time I would feel tightness or soreness when I'm doing a pose, I would actually always just ignore it and just keep pushing through. But I just learned that that's not what we're supposed to be doing. So anytime I would feel tightness in that area, instead of, ignoring it, what I actually need to do is focus my attention on that area and actually breathe through it. And ironically, when I do this, I would gain a little more mobility every single time. Let me show you. Now let's say I'm trying to bend forward and touch my toes. Normally I would get close to here and I start burning my hamstrings. So what I need to do is actually focus on breathing and just focus on the hamstrings. And you can see I slowly start to get more and more range of motion. This is kind of teaching my body that it's okay to go through this full range of motion. And with that in mind, let's go through this whole flow again. I haven't told you guys this, but I've actually done yoga before, and I actually used to go to classes at my gym, but those classes were an hour long, and every time I would go there, I would rather hoop or lift than go to yoga. Plus, seeing people in their 60s and 70s being way more flexible than me was actually pretty annoying. But if I stayed consistent back then, I would probably be in a better place now. It is officially day 30. But we're not going to focus on that. Instead, we're going to focus on how I've been consistent for 30 days. And you can clearly see the poses look way better than they did on day 1. And ever since I figured out how to focus correctly during the routine, I was able to notice some gains. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm probably going to continue to do this in my daily routine, because it really only takes like 5 to 10 minutes. And now it's time to show you guys the results. Not only did my flexibility improve, but when I play basketball, I'm able to get lower and actually move through those positions as well. And when I lift weights, I'm able to feel my muscles activate a lot better, which means my mind-muscle connection got better, and I got a lot stronger as well. But the biggest change actually had nothing to do with the physical benefits. It was actually my focus. Yoga actually forced me to slow down, breathe, and actually be more in the present moment, which allowed me to be better focused on the task at hand. So, was it worth it? Absolutely. People have been practicing yoga for 5,000 years, and I'm starting to get why. It's not just flexibility, it's so much more. I think I barely scratched the surface on what yoga can actually do, and who knows, if I keep going, maybe someday I'll be levitating. Or maybe just jumping higher. I'll stick with jumping higher. But if you try yoga, let me know your experience in the comments below, and let me know what challenge I should try next. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you like this video, you're gonna love this one, so click here to watch.